We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. I'm Erika, the host of Millennials Rock, and I'm here today with the incredible Dr. Peter Pry. He is the executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security.
At what point does a coincidence become a cover-up? CIA connections, military background, and an unsettling past. Today, we break down all the new evidence that makes you wonder just how deep this rabbit hole really goes. Now, I'm sure you've seen the clips of Erika Kirk openly promoting the U.S. defense industry.
I've been able to travel to the Pentagon. I've been able to meet General Salazar, who's actually out here in Arizona. And so there's been a lot of things that have been going on, from working in the military, to traveling, to just being able to get out there, and a lot of work.
And why do you think that we are not putting funding towards defense?
Because we're stupid.
That is perfect. That is the best answer.
On the surface, that makes sense. Her family has deep roots in one of the most powerful industries in the country.
How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here. Especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, even one that was a mentor of hers. So it was really convenient to be able to come all together in one place to really have that.
But things get a lot stranger when you realize that just a decade ago, Erika was warning the public about EMP threats in a documentary that just so happened to feature a former CIA director.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP.
Well, there are 18 critical infrastructures in the United States: food, water, transportation, communications, etc.
Now, maybe you're thinking, so what? She was just interviewing the guy. And sure, by itself, that wouldn't mean much. But at what point does coincidence turn into a pattern? Because Erika keeps resurfacing in videos alongside high-ranking intelligence and military officials again and again.
And I'm here today with the incredible Dr. Peter Pry. He is the executive director of the Task Force on National and Homeland Security and director of the U.S. Nuclear Strategy Forum, both congressional advisory boards. He has served on the Congression EMP Commission, the Congression Strategic Posture Commission, the House Armed Services Committee, and the CIA. He is also the author of Apocalypse Unknown. Thank you so much for being here, Dr.
Well, thank
Pry.
you for having me to discuss this vitally important subject.
I'm sitting here with Dr. Peter Pry, and this is my second interview with you, so I'm so glad that you're back here sitting with me talking about EMP stuff.
Well, thank you so much for having me back. I love to be interviewed by you.
And you have to remember what Charlie was openly saying about these same intelligence agencies right before he was silenced.
Deeply fearful of this movement. They know that we are aware. They know that we are noticing things, that we're seeing patterns, that we know how powerful the intel agencies have become. And so that's why I think Russiagate really matters, is that it's a way to hold them accountable, to see how dark and honestly demonic their activities have become.
Yes.
And hopefully an opportunity to fulfill a mandate that President Trump ran on, and I still know believes to this day, which is to bring the deep state to hopefully smash it, or at the very least bring it back into balance.
So you can understand why people are growing increasingly suspicious, especially now that Erika's connections to these agencies are coming into clearer focus. And it doesn't stop there. Her behavior after Charlie's death raised even more questions. Many people were upset when she attended a public sporting event without her children. Some defended her, saying she was trying to keep them out of the spotlight. But then she later used those same children to promote a book she's been selling since Christmas. And this is happening at a time when we keep hearing that she has lost her kids. And this is coming from people who know her personally.
I don't think that she at all had any connection to that. When I see that, it's like you're victimizing the victim, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, she did lose her husband. She lost her kids. Like, I was just with her at the White House, and she's, that's anyone. If that happened to your wife, my husband, like, it's devastating.
She lost her kids.
She will never be able to grow old with Charlie. She will never be able to be with them again, have more children, to have grandchildren, to have those memories, to raise them.
There were also allegations that her nanny had contacted CPS and that Erika was involved in a child custody dispute with Charlie's parents.
Erika, we got some more questions for you. What happened to Charlie? You're getting a visit from Child Protective Services? What's going on, girl? Your own nanny called CPS on you because you weren't taking care of your kids? You were neglecting them? And she says this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. This was the result of weeks of mounting concern regarding child neglect and abandonment.
Now, to be clear, there is no confirmed evidence proving those claims. Even Representative Luna later clarified her remarks, saying, "To clarify, I meant to say the kids lost their dad. The PBD podcast is not edited, so it was not changed or taken out. Still, one thing is undeniable. People are watching Erika's every move very closely, which brings us to something many viewers have recently noticed: a strange mark on her hand. As you can see, it looks something like a strange horseshoe mark, and I want to know what you guys think. Was it made by some kind of skin condition, or is it something else entirely? In the meantime, let me show you just what Erika has apparently been deleting from her social media to rebrand herself. Interestingly, her pizza-loving ex-boyfriend, Cabot Phillips, appears to be doing the same thing. Why? Because Erika is now being positioned as the face of not just a conservative movement, but a religious one.
This whole room feels it. This whole nation feels the spiritual warfare. But Charlie would say that's how you know you're over the mark, when you feel it, when the enemy is there. That's how you know you're doing the Lord's work. And that's how you know you're defending truth. And that was his true barometer, was when he would feel that spiritual warfare. And I watched him pour every ounce of himself into the students, into raising up the most courageous generation, and inspiring so many people to stand firm in faith and to love this country.
At the funeral, for me, you could go any direction in that moment. I wasn't up there for anyone else but for the Lord and my husband. Those were the two people in my quote-unquote audience. And yes, Charlie would have forgiven. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you think what the assassin did was correct. That's the exact opposite.
Even Charlie Kirk once suggested that his wife might be more conservative than he was.
Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. We have asked the audience for questions. You pick one.
Who is more conservative and why?
Erika.
Yes.
By far. Not even close. I am a moderate compared to Erika.
And given how murky Erika's past appears to be, how inconsistent her claims are, it's not surprising that some people believe Charlie himself may have been misled. After all, even their first meeting was supposedly a pure coincidence, even though she herself said otherwise.
But just know that nothing is by mistake. Nothing. I will never forget the time I was in Israel with my husband. Well, that was the second time, but the first time with my mother on a pilgrimage. And I was standing in the ticket line. And I remember looking behind me. And in the snake of the ticket line was a guy who looked very familiar. I had no idea who he was. And I told my mom, this guy looks so familiar. And as a typical mother, she said, go and say hi. No. We were late for our flight, and I'm not going to come off like a crazy person that's just weird. That ended up being Charlie. Nothing is by coincidence. Now, did we know that no, not until we were like 3 months into our relationship and looking at timestamps, seeing that both of us were in Israel at the same time. But nothing is by coincidence.
We already know intelligence agencies are willing to go to extreme lengths to monitor, pressure, or even compromise people they see as threats.
The way that a Gen Z person might get recruited is, let's just use you as an example. Stage one is, I show you all of your browsing history, captures from your webcams on all of your phones and computers of you doing the most compromising shit you could ever possibly imagine. And I'd say, I like your podcast. I think you're doing a great job, and I want to protect you.
Charlie was rapidly becoming one of the biggest political figures in the country, and he made no secret of his hatred for the intelligence and surveillance apparatus. He openly challenged the official narrative of what really happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then, out of nowhere, he's assassinated in front of the entire world. The man leading the manhunt for his assassin is the same Charlie whom he openly despised.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
It's not, first of all, we're not a democracy, we're a republic, not a democracy. It drives me crazy. But when some people say democracy, they really mean representative government. I can buy into that, right? We do have a representative form of government. And the core essence of a representative form of government is that you do not repeatedly do unpopular things that the people don't want and then celebrate it in their face and basically taunt them and be like, what are you going to do about it? That's the Utah legislature. Yeah, that's right. By the way, can you get rid of your governor? What is wrong with this guy? I want to hear about that. If I have to hear him talk about pronouns one more time, you, the people of Utah, deserve a much better leader.
And as if that wasn't strange enough, Charlie's entire movement is suddenly taken over by his wife, who begins reshaping it into something completely different. When you step back and look at the sequence of events, it doesn't feel organic. It feels engineered, and the script seems awfully familiar.